ISP Mission Trip Sunday this morning. Please join us in singing Sanctuary.
Please join me in the call to worship. God has been gracious to us. God has blessed us.
God has made his face to shine upon us.
God reveals his way to all peoples.
God guides all the nations on the earth.
God judges everyone with equity.
God shows his saving power everywhere.
Let all the nations praise you, O God.
Let us, your people, praise you.
I'm soul yearns, even faints, for the courts of the Lord. My heart and my flesh cry out for the living God. Even the sparrow has found a home, and the swallow a nest for herself, where she may have her young, a place near your altar. Lord Almighty, my King and my God, blessed are those who dwell in your house, they are ever praising you. Blessed are those whose strength is in you, whose hearts are set on pilgrimage. As they pass through the valley of Baca, they make it a place of your springs. The autumn rains also cover it with pools. They go from strength to strength, till each appears before God in Zion. Hear my prayer, Lord God Almighty. Listen to me, God of Jacob. Look at our shield, O God. Look with favor on your anointed one. Better is the day in your courts than 1,000 elsewhere. I'd rather be a doorkeeper in the house of my God than dwell in the tents of the wicked. For the Lord God is a sun and shield. The Lord bestows favor and honor. No good thing does he withhold from those whose walk is blameless. Lord Almighty, blessed is the one who trusts in you.
Please be seated and join me in prayer. Father, allow me to serve others with a joyful heart, never keeping score, but instead giving, never expecting to receive. Allow myself to give of my talents and of my goods, to give of my time and of my energy, to give of my heart and of my soul. Allow me to serve others as you serve, with gentleness and compassion, never diminishing the other person, but extending mercy to the brokenhearted, like you have repeatedly shown it to me. Amen. Will the children please come forward and join me for the children's moment? So we're going to start this children's moment today with a little demonstration activity. So can I have one brave, strong volunteer to help me out? Have you stand up and just hold your arms out just like this. Very nice. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these hymnals in your hands, and I just want you to carry them, okay? And now, this is important. Whenever you need help, ask your friends, and they're going to come up and help you, okay? So be ready to help. Getting heavy yet? A little bit heavier. So, do you think that if I had added more books, maybe twice as many books, do you think it would have been, do you think you would have been able to do that on your own? When you finally received help, when they started getting heavier, you received help, how did that feel? How did the weight of the books feel? Did it still feel just as heavy? No, it felt lighter, right? Because you had help. You had somebody helping you out, taking a portion of the weight off of your arms. And it was a little bit lighter, a little bit easier to manage, right? So I'm going to talk a little bit about the two sides of helping others. I'm going to start briefly by talking about the person in need. We are all in need sometimes, in need of help, right? Have you ever needed help? And everybody in the congregation, have you ever needed help at some point or another in your lives? Yeah, they're all shaking their heads, yes. We all need help sometimes, every single one of us. And it's important that in those times that we need help, to ask for help. And oftentimes that's difficult to do. When you need help, you need to be open and humble enough to ask for help. Because without asking for help, people won't know we need help, and people won't be willing to help unless we ask for it. So we need to remember to ask for help whenever we need it. And the other side of helping others, or the other side of helping is helping others, being willing and open and strong and courageous enough to help, to stand up and to help others who are asking for it, or even if they're not asking for it, even if you see somebody who needs help and they're not asking for it, to stand up and help them. And that's also a very difficult thing to do, because we have to sacrifice our time, we have to sacrifice so much oftentimes just to help others. Some of us have to sacrifice a week just to help others, a week out of our lives. But it's still important that whenever we see somebody in need, that we have the strength to help them. So I'm going to close in prayer. We could bow our heads and pray with me. Dear God, we ask that you give us the humility to ask for help when the burdens of life get tough. We ask that you give us the strength and the courage to help others in need. We ask that you use us as instruments of love to break the yoke of oppression and to make your love shine more brightly in this world. Amen.
Don't forget to sing, please. Please join me in the prayer for illumination. Eternal Spirit, flow through the ages, from the ages of Scripture, transforming hearts with your challenge, moving those to hear to matters of faith, courage, and mission. Bless our hearts and minds in the reading of the Word, so that we might know your presence and power more fully. We pray in the name of the living Word. Amen.
The next reading will be from Isaiah 58, 6 through 12. Is not this the kind of fasting I have chosen? To loose the chains of injustice and untie the cords of the yoke, to set the oppressed free and break every yoke? Is it not to share your food with the hungry and to provide the poor wanderer or shelter, when you see the naked, to clothe them and not to turn away from your own flesh and blood? Then your light will break forth like the dawn, and your healing will quickly appear. Then your righteousness will go before you, and the glory of the Lord will be your rear guard. Then you will call, and the Lord will answer. You will cry for help, and he will say, Here am I. If you do away with the yoke of oppression, with the pointing finger and malicious talk, and if you spend yourselves in behalf of the hungry and satisfy the needs of the oppressed, then your light will rise in the darkness, and your night will become like the noonday. The Lord will guide you always. He will satisfy your needs in a sun-scorched land, and will strengthen your frame. You will be like a well-watered garden, like a spring whose waters never fail. Your people will rebuild the ancient ruins, and will raise up the age-old foundations. You will be called repairer of broken walls, restorer of streets with dwellings. This is the word of God for the people of God.
Thanks be to God. Amen.
So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Meredith Perot, and I'm the Director of Youth, Adult, and Family Ministries here at FUMC, and I lead the Appalachian Mission Trip. I've been very privileged to go on ASP with so many different youth and adults, and to meet many different families throughout the years, and that's been great. So this trip continues to be just as amazing, in its own way. So you might notice a lot of our ASP group wasn't able to be here today, so we have some videos that some of our ASP youth made to tell you a little bit about their experiences. The first video clip that you're going to see is from Liam Weck. Liam was on a team led by John Dahl and Carrie Rule. Their team also consisted of Lauren Gradimus and Talon Leonard. Liam is going to tell us a little bit about his favorite memory on that trip that has to do with one of the homeowners at the site he was working on named Joyce. So let's go ahead and play that clip real quick.
I'd say my favorite moment from the trip was eating lunch with our homeowner Joyce. One time she came out and gave us strawberry muffins that she had made. I thought it was a little bit cool, even while we were giving it back to her, that she was still willing to give it back to us and to thank us. I think it really pushed us how grateful Joyce was that we were fixing our home. And I really thought that was cool that she took the time out of her day to make us these muffins and just show how grateful she was. I'd say my favorite moment from the trip was eating lunch with our homeowner Joyce.
Perfect, thanks. So, after hearing Liam talk about how that homeowner Joyce had made them muffins, I don't know about you guys, but that really drew me back to the passage that Lauren just read us in Isaiah 58. So that passage is all about telling us how we should help other people. So verses 10 and 11, I'm just going to read it again. So they say, and if you spend yourselves in behalf of the hungry and satisfy the needs of the oppressed, then your light will rise in the darkness, and your night will become like the noonday. The Lord will guide you always. He will satisfy your needs in a sun-scorched land. So I don't know about you, but I'm going to say that working on a roof in no shade, 97 degrees Fahrenheit, in rural Kentucky, which is what they were doing, that sounds like a sun-scorched land to me. And that was their work site the whole week. And while Liam's group certainly wasn't who we here would typically think of as people in need, Joyce exemplified this passage to them. She went out of her way to help their group, even though she did not have a lot. She had faith that while she helped others, that God was going to guide her through her own sun-scorched land. She put that trust in God, So the second video clip that you're about to see is from Trevor Rule. Trevor was on a team led by Jill Tompkins and Scott Garreau, and it also consisted of Elise Tompkins and Ben Coram. And Trevor's going to tell us a little bit about their whole week at their work site, so we'll go ahead and we'll play that one.
My favorite experience from our AST trip was definitely just seeing everyone work together and pull through really when the time got tough, especially in our group. There's just a lot of things that just didn't go according to plan, but we all worked together and it really showed because the house looked really good at the end, and I'm just really proud of what everyone did. My favorite experience from...
All right, so Trevor was talking kind of about how well his group worked together, even though they had many setbacks over the week. So one thing to note was that, like Liam's group, Trevor's group was also on a roof that week. Since the roof was very, very steep, they couldn't safely have many people up on it at once. So it was also an entirely new type of roofing. So they had to literally learn it from the ground up. So while they were working on that roof, they had set up a table saw on the ground. However, while they knew how to use the table saw, they couldn't figure out how to change the angle of the blade to match the steep pitch of the roof. So as it so happens, the homeowner's grandfather was in town just that week for his once-a-year visit. And the grandfather also happened to have a background in carpentry. So he went over to the table saw and he showed them how to adjust it to match the pitch of the roof. So Trevor's team had many setbacks, including rain, but they came together, like he said, to do amazing work on the home. So once again, God facilitated this connection between the homeowner, or in this case, the homeowner's family member, where we were blessed by them exemplifying that Isaiah 58 message to us. So now we're going to watch our next video clip, and it's from Talon and Ia Leonard. So Talon was on Liam's team, the first one, where they worked on Joyce's home. Ia was actually on my team, which was comprised of the two of us, Stephanie Coram, Heather Schwartz, and Marshall Beverly. Our homeowner was named Betty, and Ia's going to tell you about a moment that she saw God at Betty's house, and they're both going to tell you about their time on the trip. And the video might not be working, but we can hear them, so we'll go ahead and we'll play it.
Hi, I'm Ia Leonard,
I'm Talon Leonard.
and this was my first year going on ASP, and I feel honored to be able to go.
This is my second year doing ASD, and it was just as fun as the first year.
It felt so great connecting with the families, staffers, and the other volunteers.
Not only is ASD an incredibly fun experience, but it's also just very humbling knowing that you're able to positively affect the lives of the people within the community that you're traveling to.
At some points of the trip, I really felt connected to God, and I felt God was there. Like one time in the trip, we got a nail stuck, and we couldn't get it out. And one of the house owner's daughters came, and she just ripped the nail out.
One of the reasons that I think ASD is so amazing is that not only are you able to positively affect the lives of these less fortunate people, but I believe that they are actually affecting and changing our lives in more ways than we realize, like teaching us to not take things for granted, and then also just showing us how to be more hospitable towards others through them, just opening up their homes to us and allowing us to work on their homes, and then finally just teaching us, no matter what situation you're in, rich, poor, just to enjoy life and live each day to the fullest. So that's why ASD is really cool.
This was truly a magical trip, and I'm definitely going to go back
All right, so I love how sweet Ia is, because when she told you that story about the nail, which was actually the screw, how it got stuck in the wood subfloor, she did not tell you whose fault that was. It was mine. It was my fault. So as I was putting the screw in, it bent at almost a 90-degree angle. So I thought, well, okay, let's take it out. But here's the problem. I had been trying so hard with the power drill to get the screw out that I had ripped up all of the grooves in the screw head. So the top of the screw just had a big hole in it. There was nothing for the bit in the power drill to catch onto to pull the screw out. So I started to panic a little. On ISP, they give us a construction manual. I looked through the construction manual. I tried a few things. Nothing worked. I tried a crowbar, but the screw is super long, so that won't work. I walked out to the front yard to get cell service, and I start pulling up YouTube videos because I'm getting really desperate. And I watch a video called something like 8 ways to remove a stripped screw. And at the very end of the video, the guy holds up the exact screw I used. And he says, now if you use this screw, good luck. Because none of these will work, you're stuck with it. And just in case you're wondering, he was right, because I tried all those tricks anyway, and none of them worked. So at this point, I was thinking, I'm just going to have to grab the Sawzall, and I'm just going to have to saw through this screw so I can at least try to cut the screw as close to the subfloor as possible so that we can put the flooring physically on top of it. And then all of a sudden, Susie, who was our homeowner Betty's daughter, walks in. She's asking how everything's going. So we tell her, I kind of went in the corner and I was like, I can't even talk about this. And this woman grabs a huge pair of vice grip pliers and rips a 4-inch screw out of the subfloor. That is impossible. So now you can probably guess where I'm going with this. Liam, Trevor, and Ia's stories all have shown how all of our homeowners always eagerly gave us a helping hand when we honestly didn't know how to go forward. And that's really the point about ASP. It's about making human connections through Christ in a moment where you're not sure how you can go forward. Tex Evans, the founder of ASP, said that ASP was a relational ministry with a little construction work on the side. Just like how we're called to do in our everyday life as Christians, ASP is about coming alongside one another, making relationships, and helping each other through those points where it's hard to see the next step. Thanks.
Please stand and join me in saying the affirmations of faith. We are not alone. We live in God's world. We believe in God, who has created and is creating, who has come in Jesus, the Word made flesh, to reconcile and make new, who works in us and others by the Spirit. We trust in God. We are called to be the church, to celebrate God's presence, to love and serve others, to seek justice and resist evil, to proclaim Jesus, crucified and risen, our judge and our hope, in life, in death, in life beyond death. God is with us. We are not alone. Thanks to God. Amen.
Now we come to a time for prayer. You may lift your concerns silently or vocally. Let us pray. God, you know our hearts and our needs. Please surround in love those we have lifted up to you.
Let us pray the prayer Jesus taught us to pray. Our Father,
Lord in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever.
Now Barbara has a ministry for us.
You're used to seeing the back of my head. And I'm here to say a huge thank you to everybody in this congregation. This ministry moment is about music and worship. And you're here in worship. And we are so fortunate to have a church that supports worship and supports the arts in worship. That is not true in every congregation. I get all kinds of compliments that I accept on behalf of music groups, and not just music groups, but the ushers. What would we do without the ushers? We wouldn't know where to go, when to put in our offering. Or what about the people who set out communion for us, the communion stewards every week? Or the tech team who push those buttons so that we can follow the words and know where we are in the service, and who turn the mic on so that you can hear things. There are also people that do all of those sort of random extra things, like putting new speakers in the choir loft so that the chancel choir and Perception's praise team are going to be able to hear the sermon well, and who come and spend extra time to do all of the worship visuals that we see. The streamers are down. Next week it's green. It changes to green, and we change with the seasons. Those are the things that are unseen. Then what's scrolling on the screen are the music opportunities that are here. And this is where I say, you can come and join. You can come and help. It's okay. We're doing something new this year. We're going to try. We're going to have an angel choir. That doesn't mean that everybody in the choir is already an angel. They're going to be practicing to become more angelic. But the age levels will parallel those of last 3 years old through 5th grade. And so if you know anyone with kids or any kids, encourage them to come. We also have a community chorus, we have chancel choir, praise team, chancel ringers, all of that. Catch me, send me an email, call the church office, they'll figure out where I am. And sincerely to all of you, thanks to you for your contributions, whether it's time, talent, or money. Ministry is in motion.